What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, it is appreciated. I'm sure you know what's going on by the title already, but today we are working on carbon fiber. So if you guys have been subbed to my channel for a little bit, you know that like I enjoy carbon, but I'm not the biggest carbon fiber fanboy. Unlike that one over there who is currently enjoying his Chipotle. And I don't have issues with carbon at all. Obviously I have a carbon hood and things, but I've never been like super like, oh, just carbon's the best thing ever. But it is. But I do like when cars have carbon in a really nice, tasteful way. So that's what I'm gonna be doing on my Z. So for one, we have the hood. I have these little carbon pillars and then a little carbon bit there for my gauge base. But I want more. So the plan is to overlay some carbon on some pieces I already have on my car. Specifically my side splitters, my front splitter, and my rear diffuser. I also have like two other parts that are gonna be in carbon. One I already have, not real carbon unfortunately, but it'll work. But the other ones are actual carbon and I haven't bought those yet, but I'll get them before this video is over. There are some other parts as well that I may do in carbon in the future, but for right now, those are the main things that we're working on today. Thankfully, Jonathan has done carbon overlaying before. Again, if you've been subbed to the channel, you'll remember possibly a long time ago, he used to have a carbon roof on his 350Z, and unfortunately his roof had flown off, hit the street, and got ran over and broken like a million pieces. So I repaired it with fiberglass, or me and Jonathan repaired it with fiberglass, and then he relayed the carbon over, and it actually looked really good. He also did his splitter for his 350 and the rear diffuser, which he had the same diffuser that I have. So, you know, he knows what he's doing. So we're gonna follow his lead on this when it comes to the carbon fiber, but he's gonna show us how to lay carbon over all these items. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the Z aired up, gonna take the front bumper off, start taking everything off, and then from there we can actually start working on doing the carbon. All right, front bumper is off. Jonathan is currently working on getting the splitter off, just because I love this splitter. It takes damage like a champ, but it also like is secured by tons of bolts. So it's a bit of a process to get it off, but Jonathan's gonna be working on this, and I'm gonna be working on getting the side splitters off. All right, so splitter is completely off. Jonathan just went through with a sander and hit this with a light sand. Now he's just wiping it down. Right now he's just wiping it down with a microfiber towel and the instant car wash stuff, which comes in handy. Like, we use that stuff all the time. I feel like I use it more than I wash my car sometimes.
Guilty.
Yeah, he definitely uses it more than he washes his car. He is notorious for not washing his car.
Go show my car right now.
It's pretty dirty, I think.
No, it's bad.
Oh yeah, it's bad. And to make matters worse, he has white wheels. You'd think he'd like clean it more. I can't say a whole lot because my white wheels are super dirty right now too, but it is what it is.
Or
there is alcohol, 2 containers of alcohol right there. Right in front of your face. There you go. So right now we're doing this, and then we can actually start laying the carbon. Unfortunately, the length of the carbon isn't fully as long as this, but I don't think we're gonna put the entire thing in carbon just because it's not needed, but we're at least gonna do like this edge here that is shown hanging off the bumper. Laying down the carbon, again, we're really only needing it for about like 2 to 3 inches of the front lip, but first process is laying it down, measuring out where we're gonna be putting it.
Do you have sharper scissors in these? These aren't fucking doing shit.
Maybe.
Not cutting at all. Did absolutely nothing. Ah, that's what I wanted to see.
Okay, so poor Jonathan has been sitting here trying to get this weave to match because this side was being a pain, but got it all laid the way that it needs to, so now we start mixing the resin and everything. Mm-hmm. Nice, okay.
First layer of resin will go down, let it sit for an hour, then I'll put this back on top, let it sit for like 25-ish minutes, and then put a coat of epoxy on it, and then from there you just let it sit for...
But right now we're leaving some of the carbon just hanging over, so we're gonna put the epoxy and everything first, and then we'll go ahead and like trim off the excess. So here is the resin and the hardener, and we're being real professional about this and just using a red Solo cup to measure it out. Jonathan went with the resin and just laid it all through here. So now that that's all nice and wet, we're gonna go ahead and put the carbon on top. Never mind, Jonathan says we have to wait. So we gotta wait a little bit and then we'll put the carbon on top. So the resin is officially dried enough. We set a timer for 40 minutes, and basically what you want is for the resin to like be and feel tacky. And then we went ahead and relayed the carbon over it, and are now letting it sit for about 20 minutes so it can get nice and like stuck where we want it to be. Then after that, we'll go ahead and take the resin again and actually lay it over the top of this. Just remember, if you're using more than one piece like this, you just need to make sure that the weave pattern matches as close as possible to make sure that it like looks correct, or else it's gonna look a little funny and you know, you might get called out for it.
When you put this first coat of resin, you don't need to make it like super thick. You kind of just need it to like saturate into the cloth, and so it can go all the way through it. And then you put another coat after it's fully dry.
Good morning, guys. Currently the next day. The first coat of resin has officially dried. So it's honestly pretty smooth and solid. We are gonna put another layer on this one, and then we'll go ahead and sand it down, and then I think one more after that, right on top of this one.
Sand it, put another one, let that one cure, sand it, and then if we need to add another one.
Okay.
At least 3.
But good thing is it's actually looking like a carbon lip now, which is nice. Obviously just the front part, but that's all I need, so it's okay. But we also got the side splitters out, so I'm gonna start sanding these guys, and then from there, we can just do the same process with those that we did with this. All right, so Jonathan just ran through this with the sander. It's looking good. No, but seriously, it is looking pretty good. Pretty happy with how it's been turning out, but as you can see, he sanded it and there's all these little divots, so this is what we're gonna try and fill in. So this is the purpose of sanding it.
Shows you all the low spots so you can figure out how much more resin you need to put, or epoxy you need to put.
So he's just trimming up the edge right now. He's probably gonna finish sanding it, and then after that we'll go ahead and throw another layer on this, maybe 1 or 2, just depends on what it needs, but it's coming together. These guys have also dried from yesterday's. They're looking pretty good as well. But these still need just like another extra coat that needs to sit, dry, and solidify. Then we'll do the same process of sanding it and then throwing on another layer. Haven't touched the rear diffuser yet, but we'll get to it eventually. So the epoxy that we put on these has completely dried. We sanded it down with 80 grit down to I think 240, and then wiped these clean. So now they are good for a clear coat. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and spray all these down with clear, and then they should be done after that. So front splitter and side splitters are back on the Z, and they are looking mighty good, if I do say so myself. I'm not gonna show the full close-up of them yet, just because I wanna get like everything all together in one shot. But we are moving on to the next piece, which is the wicker bill. I was debating about doing this or not, mainly because the louvers are not going to be carbon. Honestly, I think I might just take the louvers off. I love them, but also it kind of takes away from the shape of the car a little bit, even though it took Jonathan quite a while to get his sold, but I'm still gonna try and get rid of mine. But anyways, this is the next piece to get the carbon laid on top of it. As you can see, no Jonathan currently, so I'm going to attempt to do this one by myself in hopes that I don't mess it up. So that did not turn out great. There was a step that I missed that I thought wasn't important. Turns out it was very important, because while I was trying to do it, the resin was just not flat at all. There was like waves of it in there. It just didn't look right. On top of that, I don't think I added enough hardener, so there were parts that were still soft, so when I was sanding them, it like got sticky and just wasn't sanding properly, and it wasn't looking good. Thankfully though, Jonathan came back the other day and went ahead and showed me my mistake, which was not using the heat gun. Again, I didn't think it was an important step, but definitely is important to help make sure that the resin and everything lays flat. So if you're doing this, just make sure that you're putting the heat on the resin and the hardener while it's in the cup before laying it down, and then after you lay it down, go ahead and use the heat gun again in circles to make sure that it flattens out. But I'm currently in the process of sanding this down. As you can see, there are some divots, but again, in comparison to the way that I had it, this is 10 times better. All in all, looking pretty good though. Still have to lay this side with carbon, but for now, one side's pretty much done. I just have to finish sanding this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with a clear coat, and this side's done. As for the front lip and splitter, I can't remember if I really showed it, but the front lip is looking really good with the carbon hood, and the side splitter is also looking really good. I know this isn't the best view currently, but I want to hold off on showing like everything in detail until every little carbon bit has been done. And unfortunately, I'm currently out of resin and hardener, so I can't even finish the other side of the wicker bill. So I need to order some more of that. I also need to order another mat of carbon just because I'm not going to have enough for the rear diffuser. And I do still have some carbon bits over on the workbench that I haven't put on yet, as well as one more thing that I want to order and should be here soon. That's what we're gonna do in the next carbon fiber video. Still working on this POS, really close. Don't even want to get into it right now because it's idling and everything, but it's still causing me problems. And I got some real nice goodies coming in for the Q50 that I'm super hyped about. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I'm gonna be putting out content as much as possible. But as always, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.